Salve people of the universe, today we're going to be talking about why I think the internet is a case study on fear. There are going to be multiple segments to this that are going to help explain why this is the case and what we can learn from it. So the first part is, of course, people are often very angry on the internet. Now, anger usually comes from two sources. Fear is the first, or the second, powerlessness. Now, powerlessness is very much related to fear, but it is kind of a separate trait altogether at the same time as well. So why do we separate the two? Why don't we just say, okay, fear, and maybe fear is derived, maybe fear causes powerlessness? Because I want to really touch on powerlessness. When you're on the internet, you can't control what another person says. But also, what we've seen more and more is that people cannot control themselves. So why is this the case? Well, it's because of the way that the internet works. It's the way that social media works. That is what has caused this incapacity, this incapability of being able to control yourself. When you are rewarded in the short term over and over again, what ends up happening is that your expectations for a response, for being able to react yourself, whether it be in a chemical way or in a actual mental way, becomes shorter. Your expectation is shorter, which means that you expect more quickly. So, when someone says something on the internet, because you're scrolling so much and you have so many other posts to see, what ends up happening is that you might see a few keywords and get really angry about them. The other day, I posted on Twitter about how people basically beat up an old man, and I said, well, if he was a pedophile, then it would be okay. And a while later, someone actually messaged me saying, responded to my tweet, saying, but when this happened before, people called them primates, you're a hypocrite. And I'm like, what? I never did that. I never call people primates. I would never do that to primates. So, I didn't get what was going on, so I messaged them. I said, listen, I didn't say that. But that made me realize that probably this was someone who always feels attacked. They feel personally attacked by statements, by ideas, by certain people even existing. Let me ask you this. Should a person like me, someone who is of color, so to speak, I'm not black, but I am part Asian, right? My dad is from Indonesia. Should I be afraid of racists? Should I see racists as the worst kind of people? No. And you know why? Because things like racism can still be cured. That's an idea. Ideas can be transformed, they can be replaced, but you gotta do it in a way where you can actually convince the other person. Hatred and violence has rarely convinced anyone. So, taking that approach, I'm not gonna yell back at this person. I'm just gonna correct them and remain almost stoic in my demeanor. And it's because you understand your the person on the other end. They might not see what you see. So where I see a person somewhere in the world, right, who's just scrolling all day long and getting really upset about everything, so of course they're going to get caught in that mentality, because the fear is being given to them, oh, people are racist, so therefore they will call people of color who do things primates, and some people did, so now everyone must be like that. That's the problem, you see. That's when the internet is a breeding ground for hatred. And the hatred stems from that fear. Now, the reason why powerlessness is so important is because when you post something on the internet and you can't control what another person says, again, if that's your world in that moment, if you're a teenager and you spend a lot of time on the internet, because some teenagers are very much on the internet a lot. I was when I was a teenager. And it's dark. It's a dark way to live. You know, some people say go outside, but even besides going outside, you know, there's other things you can do on your computer even. Right? You don't just have to play games, you don't just have to be on social media. Like, I spent a lot of time writing, I spent a lot of time making music. If you're interested in that, by the way, you can check out my main channel, Salvator official. I'll put it in the description. But you don't want to be caught in that. Okay, so on to segment number 2. The second part of this fear-filled breakdown, I suppose. So, let me ask you this, right? When people are on Instagram, for example, what is the one thing that everyone is pretty much aware of about these sorts of things? Instagram, and sometimes even Facebook. It's that the world you're seeing someone else live in, the way that someone else is living, is often exaggerated. It's often looked at through rose-tinted glasses, because, you know, they pick the moments themselves that they want to have on there. So basically, it's fake. But what ends up happening is if you don't keep realizing that it's fake, which is a depressing thought because you're constantly looking at it maybe, but if you don't realize that you're only seeing portions of someone's life, you are basically giving yourself a form of FOMO, which is, of course, fear of missing out. It's a very modern concept, but it is something that has existed for a long time. People say that FOMO is something that has only existed sometimes in modern times, but the concept itself might have, like, of the word, might have only existed for a while, but before that there was a predecessor. And this was kind of what people just knew as jealousy or envy, basically. Basically, fear of missing out is basically what envy has transformed into. Now, what is that about? Why are people so quickly afraid? Again, a close connection with powerlessness. Right, so why do they get some good life whilst I don't? Why am I not in control of my life? You know, but the truth is, rarely anyone is really in control of their lives. Barely anyone. And even those that are not even completely. That's impossible. You can't control every aspect of your life, because in order to do that, you would have to also control everything around you, which would also include controlling other people's lives. Some people attempt to do this, but this doesn't always go well, because you can't keep controlling people forever. I myself have been someone who did this before a few years ago. A few years ago, I would try to control everyone around me, because I was afraid that they would leave me. That was the reason. Again, it goes back to that fear, the powerlessness, because I had experience with being abandoned. So, fear of abandonment, fear of missing out, fear of not being able to control yourself. These are all things that are being bred on the internet. That's why the internet is a case study for fear. So, I want to go through one more segment with you guys. And in particular, this third segment is going to not just be talking about the fear, but what I think we should do about it. Well, first of all, increasing awareness is good. So if you know anyone who might be caught up in this and you have a bit of a close relationship with them, please send them this video and let them know that you hope that they can see what this video means for them. You know, I don't want to, or even just tell them. Like, I'm just saying, I want the message out there. It doesn't even have to be that they see this video, but I want the message out there that it's okay. It's okay to be aggressive on the internet for now, or well, if you have been, as long as you get better. There is a transformation possible. You don't have to be afraid. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. It's okay. The world is always going to be heavy for any particular individual to see on their timelines. But you don't have to carry that alone. In fact, I would even go to say as far as I don't think you have to carry it at all. You know, sometimes it's better to not carry it until you're ready. You need to get stronger first, get your own life together, and maybe do go outside, right? Maybe do go outside. Maybe go to the gym if you want to. If you don't want to and you're like me, well, go make some music. Go spend some time doing your passions, learning a new language, and enrich yourself. And if you're not into that, I understand. If you're not ready, I also understand. But you can do better than this, right? You can do better than this. I knew I could do better than it, and I started doing better because I knew I could. So I hope that you guys realize that too, if you are in that mindset. So, either way, thank you for watching this video. I also want to let you guys know I did write a book. You can find it on Kindle. I'll send the link in the description. It's called Nothing Happened. It's a philosophical take on the balance between nihilism and progress. So if you are interested and you have a little bit of money, I do recommend the ebook version because it's less expensive. I don't care about money that much. I mean, I care about money, but not to the point where I want to rip people off. But yeah, thank you for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.